Everybody, just want to show you a little simple program that I made that allows you to upload data from the TigerLab. It's really cool. Those guys have created a data set called MMLU-PRO, and we'll talk about that. But first of all, I just created a simple script that I'm running in Colab that allows you to pull in the data and look at a bunch of question answers, and specifically question answers that would be interesting for someone in the emergency department, but it could be anyone else. So step one, just have to import pandas, log into Huggingface. You will need to put in your secret key from Huggingface, which you do by clicking on this button and adding your secret key that way. And you can add it right in there with the name and also the value, which you'll find in Huggingface. There are a bunch of tutorials on how to do that. So if you just search the web, you should be able to find that, but make sure that key is placed so you can run this. Just run the first command. That works fine. And then we're going to go and use the Huggingface datasets, which is set here at the TigerLab. So if we click on this, you should be able to see the description of what is in there. So the MMLU-PRO from TigerLab is actually very, very extensive. It's a series of questions and answers, has up to 12,000 complex questions across many disciplines. We'll talk about that. And most recently from the medical side, Dr. Robert Hoyt worked with the Mayo Clinic and Innova to correct some of the questions in the medical domain. So it's really nice. It just happened earlier this month. So they talk about what's between the MMLU-PRO and MMLU. But more interesting probably for us is like what's actually in this data set. And basically, there's lots of multiple choice questions, and the questions will also have answers, and there'll be multiple answers. And these questions are relatively high quality, both STEM problems, physics, math, chemistry, law, engineering. They're relatively complicated, deep reasoning in order to really figure out the answers. This is really a great data set to use if you want to test out models that you may be building or models that you may want to use. I'll have a separate video where we'll use some models that are coming from Olama, and we'll use some of the new Gemma models that just came out to answer questions and see how they work. But you can see here, at least just from their data set, there's actually 818 health questions. And so we're actually going to load up the questions here. So this is a script. I'm just going to run this right here. What this script does, basically, it simply loads up the data set from TigerLab, and it's really pretty simple. It just basically picks out all the professional medicine questions, and then it just then sorts out those that have emergency department in one of these fields. Now, it's a really pretty simple script. If you want to sort and look at very certain items, either the questions, the answers, you can also search just on that. I just did a very simple search here. If you want, you can replace a search by other terms. For example, you can replace this by trauma or chest pain. But let's just take a look at it. If you want to look at it, the nice thing about Google now is that you actually look at this data set pretty easily. If you just click right here, you can actually see all the questions, which is actually really amazing. So we have 60 entries here, 60 questions that have emergency departments somewhere in this data set here. They mostly appear in the question. You can kind of see some of these here. 78-year-old male. Here's a 47-year-old brought to the emergency department with sudden onset of shortness of breath. Here are a series of possible answers to this question. They actually give the answer right here as well. And this would be labeled, let's say A, B, and then C, or you can use 2, which is another way of looking at the index. So that's your data set. It's actually really, really pretty nice. And I just create a simple script here, just save this to your local file. So if you run this part of the script, you'll actually save this, and it's just going to be a comma separated file of all these questions. So it's a really great, easy way to get access to this data set. You can see it's a really simple script. I highly recommend you using it. It's called MMLU-PRO, and it comes from the TigerLab. You can also replace this by anything you want. Let's say replace this by chest pain and run it. It'll pick out all the questions that have chest pain. And actually, it's searching the entire database for the word chest pain. So it's not perfect, but it will definitely pick out chest pain if it shows up and show you those cases. And so here are some cases here. 47-year-old male brought to the emergency department, 2 hours sudden onset of shortness of breath and severe chest pain and sweating. You can go through the question yourself. There are some answers that are here. And then this is the answer that was proposed. So I have not reviewed these answers at all, but they've been reviewed before. Obviously, you wouldn't be using these for medical purposes, mainly for education, but it's a really great data set to use. So feel free to use it. And as I said, I've referenced the TigerLab here. You can go ahead and go use the reference and go to their site directly if you want more information. So hope you like that. I'm going to go ahead and show you again how to save this for yourself, which is great. Now you have that file on your desktop, and then you can use that in any other program you want. I'll try to make another video where we actually put these questions and answers into some large language models to see how they perform with these and how they do with some of this question answering. Okay, thank you.